Today, y'all, we're gonna talk about how the Biden administration came in off of the African American vote. The African American vote is what put Biden in office, and he came in and spit in everyone that casted a vote for him's face. He got on TV and lied about racial equality and wrote an executive order about Asian Americans being targeted for hate crimes in America. Can you really believe that this man blatantly came in office after you put him in the office and wrote an executive order about Asian Americans being targeted for hate crimes and have never once even talked about what's been going on with us since the conception of this country. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna start something right here. I'm gonna start it right here. I'm gonna share my screen. I ain't gonna even be long. We're gonna read about the Asian Americans first, what they've done. Hate crimes against Asian Americans are on the rise. Many say more policing isn't the answer. You know, he wrote that executive order. Let me see if I can get it like this. We'll go right here. Okay, here it goes. White House responds to recent attacks against Asian Americans.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked today if the president had seen any of the videos and what action he might take.
I'm not aware that he's seen the videos, but he is concerned about the discrimination against the actions against the Asian American community, which is why he signed the executive order and why he's been outspoken in making clear that, attacks, verbal attacks, any attacks of any form are unacceptable.
The executive order was issued during the president's first week in office, acknowledging racism being directed at Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. It also directed the Department of Health and Human Services to avoid using language that could be offensive to the Asian American and Pacific Islanders community.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for waking up with us.
Okay. All right. Y'all saw that. You say Biden wrote a executive order. And you see how they showed two black men? You see the narrative that they're pushing? See, these are hate crimes for where they can say that black people are doing this, but it's really the white supremacists out in California, out in New York, that are attacking these Asians. But they show two black people attacking Asians. Two videos out of all that they've done to black people, and never, ever addressed it. But you have a few Asian Americans, they're not even in our communities like that. Maybe out in California, a little bit in New York. They doing your nails. You know what I'm saying? And then they're mistreating black people in the nail shops, jumping on black women, double teaming them, messing up their nails and giving them funguses, then jumping on them. These people are wicked, man. And y'all voted these people in. But we're going to get to the gist of it. You see how quick he wrote a executive order protecting them? Okay, let's talk about what they've done to us. We're going to read this along right here. Throughout the late 19th century, racial tension grew throughout the United States. More of this tension was noticeable in the southern parts of the United States. In the South, people were blamed blaming their financial problems on the newly freed slaves that lived around them. Lynchings were becoming a popular way of resolving some of their anger that whites had in relation to the freed blacks. From 1882 to 1968, 4,743 lynchings occurred in the United States, which is a totally goddamn lie. It's probably tripled. Um, of those people that were lynched, 3,446 were black. The blacks lynched accounted for 72.7% of the people lynched. These numbers seem large, but it is known that not all of the lynchings were ever recorded. You hear that? These numbers seem large, but it is known that not all of the lynchings were ever recorded. Out of the 4,743 people lynched, only 1,297 were white people, were lynched. That is only 27.3%. Many of the whites lynched were lynched for helping the blacks or for being anti-lynching and even for domestic crimes. Was lynching necessary? To many people, it was not. But to the whites in the late 19th century, it served a purpose. Whites started lynching because they felt it necessary to protect the white woman. Birth of a nation, the first one. Rape, though, was not a great factor in the reasoning behind the lynchings. It was the third greatest cause of lynchings behind homicide and all other causes. Many of the lynchings that took place happened in the South. A big reason for this was at the end of the Civil War. Once blacks were given their freedom, many people felt that the freed blacks were getting away with too much freedom and felt they needed to be controlled. Mississippi had the largest lynchings from 1882 to 1968 with 581. Georgia was second. These numbers are totally underrepresented. Georgia was second with 531. Texas was third with 493. 79% of lynchings happened in the South. Of the lynchings that did not take place in the South, mainly in the West, were normally lynchings of whites, not blacks. Most of the lynchings in the West came from the lynchings of either murderers or cattle thieves. There really was no political link to the lynchings of blacks in the South and whites in the West. Not all states did lynch people. Some states did not lynch a white or a black person. Alaska, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut were these few states that had no lynches between 1882 and 1968. Okay, we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about this right here. So we know that they've been lynching black people for years. So we got a list right here from 1968, just a small list that were killed by police, black people. These aren't talking about the mobs of white people that killed thousands, tens of thousands of black people. Facts. But we're going to talk about just the police killings since 1968. Henry Dumas, killed by the New York Police Department. Rita Lloyd, killed in 1970. Let me start back. Henry Dumas was killed on May 23rd, 1968 by the New York Transit Police. Rita Lloyd was killed in January 27, 1973 by New York City police officers. Barry Jean Evans was killed February the 10th, 1976 by Los Angeles Police Department. You know what I'm saying? Ralph Evans was killed on November the 25th, 1976 by the New York. These are all in New York, in Los Angeles. I'm gonna skip up to where we gonna go. Here go one. Eula May Love, January the 3rd, 1979 by county Los Angeles County Police. You can go on and on right here, all the way to the 80s. New York and California been laying their thing down. Chicago been laying a Frankie Ann Perkins, March 22nd, 1997 by the Chicago Police Department. They've been doing this. They got a history. We're going these all people been killed. These not all of them. You know what I'm saying? It's just a few. You know what I mean? Just a few, all the way up to 2020. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to everybody's names, but it went from the mobs of white people murdering our people to the police. After the Civil Rights Act and we got to vote, They started letting the police do the murders. Well, they were white supremacists too. But we got to realize that it just didn't start. It just didn't start in 2016. It just got worse in 2008 when Obama came president. You see what I'm saying? This shit is real, man. These people are deliberately trying to spit in God's people's face, but it's over. I'm going to go down to right here, the last one. Vincent Belmont, January 5th, 2021, Cleveland, Ohio police. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Warren Sr., January the 10th, 2021, Killeen, Texas police. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Hill, December the 22nd, 2020, Columbus, Ohio police. You know what I'm saying? Casey Goodson Jr., December the 4th, 2020, Franklin County police. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Come on, man. These people ain't playing. These people trying to take us out. And then they have the audacity to come in and talk about somebody pulling hate crimes on Asian Americans and not even acknowledge what they've done to us. And then they talk about slavery ended over 150 years ago. And why we still talking about reparations? Are you serious? Can you seriously sit here and say that we don't deserve anything? Not even an apology? In Charleston, Virginia, when the white boy ran into that crowd, he wasn't even charged with a hate crime. And he a white supremacist, known. Bethlehem John, shot down in Texas in his apartment by this white bitch and her whole family white supremacists. She got white supremacist racist post. She walked in this man's apartment and all she had to say was an accident and only got 10 years. And our mental, we're so fucked up in the mind that her brother gets on there and hugs this woman and say he forgive her. You see the spell that they have on us? So at that point, they can get on TV and say, if the family forgive them, what do you have to say about it? I'm gonna talk about the mental destruction that has occurred in our community, because I'm gonna get on our ass too. But I'm talking about the hypocrisy of this country, the audacity that they have and the disrespect that they have for God's people. So I'm not upset about what's going on, about the freezing in Texas and Arkansas and Louisiana, because they got a lot to pay for. Mississippi, they got a lot to pay for. They got a lot of dead bodies on their land. See, the land is dead down in Texas. There's a lot of desert land. Everything just died. See, when you disrespect and torture God's people, it's got to be some retribution. It's got to be. And see, when God's people disrespect themselves and they participate in their own demise and their own destruction, you got hell to pay. I'm gonna do a video on that. So you calling on evil and totally disregarding who you are and where you come from and where your power lies. See, when you worship death, you gonna get death. It's gonna come to you in the worst way. See, Satan ain't got no moral compass. But I'm just talking about the audacity of Satan. You see, they're painting a picture now that, you can go in a nail salon and they can jump on you and your family can come help you, and it's going to be a hate crime against the Asians. You see the narrative and the propaganda that these sick motherfuckers put out here and try to do against God's people, but it's not going to work. See, y'all won't go to a black nail salon owner. You won't let a black woman do your nails. You want to run to the Asians, get funguses and everything. I know our people sometimes don't have the best customer service because we mentally fucked up. You know what I'm saying? The professionalism, but theirs aren't either. They don't even respect you. They be in there blah, 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 talking, and you don't understand what they're saying, and they talking about your ass. So you deserve what you get because you're not spending your money with your people. I have no animosity, nothing against Asian Americans, Asian community at all. I actually admire the way that they don't spend their money with nobody but themselves. How they keep everything in their community and they turned it into Chinatown. You know what I'm saying? Every other race, Greek town, Chinatown. You know what I'm saying? The Polish got their own community. The Italians got their own community. They spend their money with their people. We the only race of people running away, begging to give other people that hate us our money. We got a real bad problem. And that's why people don't respect us. And I don't blame them. I do not blame them one bit. Because we don't even respect our damn self. Because I'm finna dig in these stupid young motherfuckers' ass about what's going on. Because I got truth and righteousness and God and our ancestors on my side. You know what I'm saying? I can say things and don't worry about any repercussions. You know, we are ignorant to what's really going on. We're stepping in the way of their justice. We gotta have justice for what they've done to us. They gotta pay restitution. You know what I'm saying? The same way they gave it out and the ancestors dishing it out, but y'all stopping it. Y'all intervening and they setting you up for failure. He came in and wrote an executive order from them off the bat and showed 2 black people attacking Asians, and it's nothing like that. Those were 2 ignorant, possessed, stupid motherfuckers because they doing it to their own as well. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that attacks an elderly person, a child, no matter who they are, they some sick motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And weak because they're defenseless. You know, we got a lot to atone for. America has a lot to atone for. When are we as black men gonna be righteous again? Start back rebuilding our community. It's time. We don't have no more time to bullshit and play with Satan. Because Satan, goddamn, he coming for his own. He gonna collect his debt. I promise you, he gonna collect his. Don't let it get fucked up. He coming for his. So I'm gonna leave this video in y'all hands and let you think about the narrative that they're painting and how that's against you too. Peace, family.